This is the Freeheel Life podcast, episode number 175. I'm your host, Josh Madsen, coming at you from the Freeheel Life shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. And welcome back, protectors of the turn. This is the last podcast of the season. Super stoked to be here. Happy Monday morning, and always great to kick it off with all of you out there this fine Telemark season. It's been a good one. Lots of fun episodes this year. I've had a really good time chatting with a lot of friends, new acquaintances, talking about gear and the like, and of course, talking about the greatest turn on snow, the Telemark turn. So thank you for tuning in every Monday, checking out the episodes, all of the interest and the emails, questions, thoughts, love mail, hate mail, constructive mail, whatever it may be. I've appreciated it all. So thank you for being a part of it. Some newsroom and notes. We are closed for the season. The retail front is closed for the season. So thank you all for your support, purchasing your Telemark equipment from us. New parts, used parts, all the good stuff, skis, boots, and bindings. We appreciate it all. And that wraps up year number 8 in the books for the Freeheel Life retail store. So we're really looking forward to taking some time off this spring and summer, working on some new projects, and getting ready for the next Telemark season of 2023-24, if you can believe it. We are going to be taking limited appointments on. You can book those via customer service at freeheellife.com. This is the last week that we're going to have all of us, a couple of us full-time looking at stuff in terms of the emails, but we are going to take some limited appointments for, wrapping things up. Someone needs a boot mold, pick up a part real quick, that sort of thing. So reach out to customer service at freeheellife.com. That is the absolute best way to get multiple eyeballs on it, and we'll reach out to you. The site-wide sale continues. There is not much left, but there are a couple items on there. So, this time of year, you kind of get some of maybe the more obscure sizes or parts or things, maybe we're a little heavy on the inventory, but it's worth hopping on there. I know a lot of you have taken advantage of the sale on the parts section, which are up to 50% off, and very much appreciate that. It's amazing how much stuff you can collect over 8 years of time, and it was time to kind of clean house, lighten the load a little bit, and get a little refresh going on. So get on freeheellife.com. We've really done a good job of getting started, kind of cleaning that out, making sure that we've kind of got a fresh start as we go into the spring, do some site updates, freshen it up a little bit. And we would love to get all of this stuff out of our way and into your hands so you can put it on your skis or whatever it may be. Maybe even pick up some lifestyle wear. Rep that Freeheel Life Unity Tracks logo this summer with a nice hat, a t-shirt. That's some year-round stuff. Or even some après, out in the parking lot, because there's going to be snow forever and ever. I know Alta just hit 750 inches. The most snow in recorded history. It's a deep one, and we're literally going to be skiing till next season probably. So now we just got to pray that it doesn't melt off and flood like the last record season in like 1983, where it melted a little too quick, and we ended up with a river down in the middle of Salt Lake City. So anyways, hopefully Freeheel Life stays above water and everybody has some good spring skiing. So that's the hope going into that. I guess that's it. Like I said, last podcast of the season. Thank you for listening to Telemark Pirate Radio. I love all of you. I do this both for selfish reasons, because I want to interview interesting people and talk about Telemark, but I do it because of you two out there, because I know that it's important for us to have a cool community of people and talk about stuff. And of course, I love the history of it. I love to know what's going on in the current times as well. it's all cool for me, and it's just fun to talk about. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to hear what your favorite podcast episode was this season, or any season, I guess. We're 3 years into this. It would be great to hear what you enjoyed most, because I've got a running list of things I should talk about, because I'm always learning about new people, new history, new places, new gear, and the like. But I would love to hear what you're thinking. Podcast@freeheellife.com. Hit me up. I will now have some additional time that I can read some emails. So I would love to hear from you as we head into the spring and summer. And if you're an Apple Podcast listener, I just want to remind you, it helps to rate and review the podcast there. I would love for you guys and gals to write a review and let me know what you think. You know, it takes a couple extra seconds, but give me a nice little bump in the snow sports category, or however their algorithm works. I always like to hear what you think of the podcast. I think we're still running a five-star rating too, which is pretty good. You know, there's some 3 stars mixed in there. I don't think I have a perfect record, but I would love to get your feedback as well. So if you got a little extra time in the springtime months since skiing's over, hop on over there. All right, so let's get into it. My guest today, he started Telemark skiing back in 1989 and has been involved with everything from working in a little retail to event management, marketing, and lots more. But it was during the 2014-15 season he came up with a way to rent out the entire ski area of Schilthorn Piz-Gloria and create an on-hill experience called Telemark Only. And this is where only Telemark skiers are allowed on the mountain for a private weekend event. And now 500 to 600 Telemark skiers continue to go to this event each year. And it's the spot to go in early May to wrap up the Telemark season worldwide. So we at Freeheel Life, we're super excited to partner up with this event called Telemark Only moving forward, and I think you'll enjoy this conversation. We had to shed some light on this incredible event, what happens, how it all started, what goes on at these events, who you can plan on meeting amongst these hundreds and hundreds of Telemark skiers. So please welcome to the podcast the founder of Telemark Only, Paul Flück. All right, Paul, welcome to the Freeheel Life podcast. How you doing, man?
Good, very good. Had a good ski day today. It was one of the best powder days in Switzerland today.
I know.
So I had some good runs. Blue sky, fresh snow. Doesn't get any better.
Yeah, how many centimeters did you say you got?
Yeah, the storm the last days was like 30, 40 centimeters.
All right.
A little bit windy, but it was really cool. Yeah, it was really good. And the first nice weather day today. So
yeah,
time to skip the office.
Yeah, that's a good way to kick it off. Were you? I know Europe hasn't quite had the biggest season this year, but are you guys? Is it still staying cold, or are you guys kind of moving into the springtime weather now?
Yeah, currently it's really spring, April weather, as we say already. It's cold and snow, and then there are sunny days with almost 20 degrees again. So it's we hope to get some more good ski days. We need them. We didn't have that many this winter, that much snow that winter.
Yeah, and where do you live in Switzerland?
I live right in the middle. If you point your finger in the middle of Switzerland, you are in the Bernese Oberland, and my hometown is Meiringen, and the ski resort is Meiringen-Hasleberg. Small mountain, beautiful view, good skiing. That's where I grew up and where I'm back now living.
Oh, cool. So you actually grew up there,
Yeah.
Okay. So did you grow up skiing? I mean, is that, I've been to Switzerland a number of times. I mean, there's obviously a lot of outdoor culture and mountains. And I mean, was that something your family was skiers and you guys skied growing up, or what was your background with that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. My family was always into mountains and mountaineering and skiing. And we grew up 3 minutes from the gondola station. So it's after school, we would have school in the morning as a kid, talking like first to fifth grade or so, and we would have 4 afternoons off. And after school, we would walk home, have some lunch, and then at 1 o'clock, we would jump on the gondola and go skiing.
Wow.
Already at a young age, yeah.
That's not a bad way to grow up. 3 minutes from the gondola.
Good. It was good. Can't complain.
That's amazing. And I guess it was predominantly alpine skiing when you were growing up. I mean, was there a lot of snowboard culture like in the 90s, or was it just like you alpine skied the entire time? Or
I'm a little bit older, so I'm talking like I was born in 1970, and around 1980 it was only alpine skiing. Snowboarders were coming around that time, the first ones, but it was alpine skiing. Yeah, I have an alpine background, as everybody has in Switzerland, I guess. And I would be in the youth program and learn skiing and do some racing, but also do some touring in the spring, the whole program, yeah. But on alpine skis, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that is part of the culture there is very much like race culture on piste, probably that era too. I mean, did every kid sort of like, were you all part of a race program? I mean, you said you grew up right there, so I'm assuming there's probably all sorts of kids programs.
There's a system called the youth organization in Switzerland, and that's almost for every sport. And so you have this, we call it the IO, the youth organization for skiing, and that's the ski club who does that. And like all the kids that would ski, they would go there, and we would have a training on Saturdays. But at that time, it was not only racing, it was just also skiing, and go out skiing and ski powder on good days and bumps and whatever there was. It was the place to go to learn ski. You wouldn't go to the ski school, the local kids. They would go to this youth organization to learn to ski. Got into that program and do some racing too, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, just getting people outside at a young age is great, and especially your country's beautiful. I mean, the mountains there. If people haven't been to Switzerland, I mean, it's a pretty incredible place and very unique. Not a large country, but it's got a lot of good mountain stuff. So
yeah, it's a good place to live and to ski for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, so when did you come across telemark skiing? I mean, you're a little bit older than me, but was it in the 80s or 90s? Like when did you cross paths with that?
I just thought this question is coming, and I think it was around 88, 89 when two ski instructors that would work, I think one in the US and one in New Zealand. They would come back in spring from their working time abroad, and both of them would come back with telemark skis. And they would do some spring skiing. We saw them on the telemark skis. And what are these guys doing? You didn't know that. We're not aware of that ski technique much. And that's how I saw it first. And then the year later, probably in 89, there was some telemark event or something, and you got to try out telemark, and that's where I got it. I picked it up, and I never stopped since. So I started in 89, and we had the luck that a local sports shop run by Matt Glatthart, he was also on Telemark Only, he always is. He was really fell in love with telemark, and he would organize all the equipment. And we had some test equipment in the local sports shop. And he would push telemark, and that's how it started, yeah. Since then, I almost only skied on telemark skis.
I love that. 89, man. That's a long time ago.
That's quite a time ago, yeah.
I love that. So what this Matt guy, was he a shop owner, you said, that had the equipment?
Yeah, he owned the shop, yeah. He owned the shop.
What was it called again?
Glatthart Sports.
Huh, okay.
And in my ring, and he was really, I used to work for him a little bit, and he really got into telemark and pushed it. Locally, there were also some really good retailers with at that time with Scarpa boots and Black Diamond skis and Tua skis and all these narrow, shitty skis we used to have at the time. And they helped us to support and Yeah, my good old friend Bernie, that probably Taylor met at Telemark Only, he was that time working in Switzerland for his company. And he was promoting telemark skiing. And that's how we made it run at that time. And it was a big push also in other resorts in Switzerland, like Engelberg and some places in the French part. There were some hotspots for telemark skiing, where you would see at weekend many skiers, many people on telemark skis. You would see them easily at that time because equipment and technique was not that good. They would really make the difference to alpine skiers more than now today. And that got a big hype in telemark skiing at that time around in the early 90s.
It sounds like there was a big push. Are you saying there was kind of a big push like on piste, like in the resorts in the early 90s? In the resorts, on piste, and of course off piste too. Yeah. But in the resorts, yeah. But it sounds like there was a big push with like retailers were carrying the product, like there was events going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's something we always talk about on the podcast as sort of the recipe for growth and success. And it seems like that's what it was. It's like you've got the retail, you've got the equipment available.
Exactly.
It's available on piste, and probably instruction. I mean, did you start seeing telemark instruction inside of the resorts back then, or how did that look?
Yes. And actually we had I think that was 1991. There was also some racing going on. There was world championships in telemark skiing in Engelberg, Switzerland at that time. And there was a guy from Australia. You should pick him up for your podcast, called Peter Mack. And he wrote a book on telemark skiing, how to teach telemark skiing.
Huh. Okay.
And in 91, I was then on the board of the Swiss Telemark Association at that time. And so some people in Verbier wanted to make a first telemark instructor class with this guy from Australia, Peter Mack. And then we said from the Swiss Telemark organization that we can do that, but somebody has to come and take part in that class to see if it's valid, if it's good. And they ordered me to go to Verbier. So I was in this 2-week telemark instructor class in 91 with this guy from Australia. And we then educated 10 telemark ski instructors, the first 10. And from that on, we made more. Every year we made this class and started to educate telemark instructors. And then a couple of years later, the Swiss Ski Instructor Association, they took over. Because if you want to become a ski instructor in Switzerland, you need a second discipline besides skiing. It can be Nordic skiing, it can be snowboarding, or then they said it can be telemark skiing. And that's why we have quite a lot of telemark ski instructors in Switzerland, or we would have, because if you want to become a ski instructor, you need a second discipline, and a lot of them choose telemark.
And that's still the case today?
That's still the case today, yeah.
Wow.
Still the case.
Huh.
So they took over the training in telemark, for instructors.
And then it runs through, because that's, so the ski instruction certification, I mean, it's, is it something that's run kind of like countrywide then in Switzerland? Because yes. I know it kind of differs, like it seems like in Europe, like it's definitely like, the certification, I mean, it's like school. Like you go to become, like, that's your profession. Is that kind of how it is in Switzerland?
Yeah. True, yeah. It's true, yeah. It's quite a bit of training, and you have to ski good, yeah. And you have to ski on the telemark too if you want to have it as a second discipline. So yeah, that was important too, So the point is there will be a lot of ski instructors out there that will be able to teach telemark. But you don't see them that often at the moment. That's the point.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Well, and it seems like probably like in the United States, I would assume that some of those retailers, as we got into kind of the late 2000s, some of the retailers no longer had the Telemark equipment that they had in the early 90s, you know, and then it probably became harder to find. Is that kind of how it is there in Switzerland these days?
Yeah, you know, at some point people would switch from the Telemark skis made for Telemark skiing to alpine skis. And skis were always available. The problem was more that bindings and boots it's just a niche, you know, there's not a much big sales, and there were less and less shops that would sell Telemark equipment.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. Switzerland's always been interesting to me too, because when I first came and visited you, that was the first time I'd really been to sort of the German-speaking part of the country. And it's interesting because it really, even though it's a small country, it's very localized, you know? So I can imagine that, you know, if you don't have a shop in your area, you know, it's not like you're driving across the country to go rent Telemark gear. You know what I mean? Like the importance of having that local shop, super important. So,
yeah, it is. That's true. Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, yeah, talk about a long history. I mean, 1989. So that means you started on leather boots for sure. And then probably in the early plastic days.
I started on all leather boots without buckles. I had at some point, I had a Merrill, I think, with leather plastic.
Yep.
And then there was the Arcos, I think was the name, leather and the plastic cuff.
Yep.
And then the Terminator, of course. We very, very, as soon as they were available, we had these Terminator boots, the T1 or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I think that was 92 or something.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. 1992.
Yeah.
Right on point. Well, so I mean, you've been telemarketing for a really long time. I mean, you know, part of what I wanted to get into and having you on the podcast was sort of, you've obviously been involved with Telemark in Switzerland for, I mean, we're talking what, 40, 30 years? I mean, a long time. And then you and I kind of met when you started putting together the Telemark Only event. And I guess what was the catalyst for you getting involved with like putting an event together, you know, because that's a totally different side of organizing an event and logistics and lift tickets and lodging, all these things. Like, yeah, what was the starting point for you with wanting to do that?
Well, you know, I was heavily involved with Telemark between 90 and 97. I was on the board of directors of the Swiss Telemark Association. We organized World Cups and Swiss Championships and World Championships actually in my hometown in Meiringen, Hasselberg in 97. And after that, I kind of stopped doing telemark events and engaged myself in telemark skiing. I was a little bit involved in freestyle skiing, also with World Championships and World Cups and ski cross, stuff like that. But I didn't do much for the sports for like, I don't know, almost 20 years. And then in 2015, I have a marketing communication company, and one of our customers is the Schilthorn lift company. And one of the problems you see in skiing in general is that people want to ski in October, November, December, early season. But then when we have the most snow in April and May, the accumulated snow, nobody wants to ski anymore. But there's enough snow in the mountains. And then in 2014, 15, I think, we tried to bring people skiing in May to the Schilthorn. And it was 2015 in spring. And it was amazing conditions, but nobody did show up. And then the decision was taken not to do it anymore for 2016. And then I thought, well, the conditions is so good, there must be people that want to ski in May. And I thought about a corporate event or something, and I asked the CEO of the Schilthorn, how much does it cost to rent the mountain for a day on the first weekend of May? And then he asked, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know, but tell me what it costs. And then he gave me a number. And then I went home and thought about who is crazy enough to come skiing in May. And I thought, well, the Telemark skiers actually would be a good bunch of people to bring together in May, because, as I said, all the ski instructors that are also Telemark instructors, they work during the season. They don't have time for Telemark skiing. Maybe they come. And I have a lot of Telemark friends. They come anyway, and they invite some people, and they spread the word. So, and then in 2016, we started a crowdfunding campaign. And I said, I need 100 people that pay $100 for a day of Telemark skiing in May. And they get a lunch, they get a T-shirt, and they get the ski mountain on the Schilthorn exclusively for Telemark skiers. That's why the name Telemark Only. And we made a crowdfunding, and they had some sponsors, and they had 207 people who registered for the first year, and it was just one day. And we said, that's a success. Telemark skiers are coming. If we do that better and bigger and promote it better, that could be a cool event. That's how it started.
Wow, that's crazy. Go ahead.
And then in 2017, I think it was a 2-day event. And we got like 300-400 people. And from then on, it would grow every year. And got this respectable size with time, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that a lot of good ideas sometimes just come from, hey, I wonder, like how you just asked the lift company, hey, how much would it be for one day? Like, and then you go home and think about it. And of course, telemarketers come to the mind of who's crazy enough to go skiing in May. I think that's a good one. Yeah. Can you give so people that aren't familiar with Schilthorn, can you give a little bit of a visual, well, I guess sort of an audio explanation of, but what it looks like? Because Schilthorn's, it's a really interesting ski area, and it's got a lot of history. Maybe just kind of paint the picture of like the location and what it looks like and what makes it special.
A good way to visualize that location is the video that Taylor made when he came here. And watch that video and you will understand a little of Schilthorn. But the first thing is you come to the middle of Switzerland and you drive into this glacial valley, that is like Yosemite, but with picturesque village, with Lauterbrunnen, and on both sides you have cliffs with 500 meters. Height, and then you drive to the end of the valley, and then there's a gondola station, and this gondola takes you up to Murren, which sits on the cliff on 1,600 meters. Below the village is this 500-meter cliff, and from there it goes up to the Schilthorn. The Schilthorn is 3,000 meters high, and the first ski world championships in skiing were held in Murren, organized by Sir Arnold Lunn in 1931. That was the start of the ski World Cup. Huh. In a couple of years, there will be a festival with 100 years of ski World Cups, ski World Championships that will be held in Murren. So that's a big history. The English people will come to Murren and start to ski up there. Almost 100 years ago. And then in around 60 years ago, that the gondola to the top was built. And when they were almost finished building that mountaintop restaurant on 3,000 meters, the location scouts for the James Bond film were looking for a mountaintop location. And they found this construction site of the Schilthorn. And they would come in and they said, well, we want that location for our movie. What is the movie? It's called On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's the James Bond movie, 1968 or something. And they filmed that movie up there with amazing skiing scenes. It's really worth watching that movie just because of the skiing on the Schilthorn. And so they delayed the opening of the mountain for 1 year because of the movie, but they had all the marketing. And the name of the mountain, the Schilthorn Piz-Gloria, the revolving restaurant on top that turns around when you sit in there, is Piz-Gloria. It's the name of that location, the James Bond movie. And they kept that name. And up there's now a James Bond museum. And all that activities around James Bond, it's a big thing. It's a big marketing gag. Still, after 60 years after the movie was on. So pretty cool. But the main thing when you are on the Schilthorn, the amazing thing is the view. You can confirm that, Josh. You have the best view of the Eiger and the Mönch and the Jungfrau mountains.
Yeah,
it's really amazing.
It's an incredible view.
Crazy.
It's really unique. And to be on that, the Schilthorn restaurant, if you didn't catch what he said, the restaurant has the ability to rotate. So it's like moving in a circle on the top of a 3,000 meter peak. So it's unique to say the least. Very, very cool place.
And the point is, if you have lunch, probably it turns around in 30 minutes. You see the whole panorama all around. You see all the views. If you have good weather, of course. Yeah,
no, for sure. Well, and the snow is, the year that I came over, I think 2017 was the year I came. So you were like 2 years into it, and we ended up with powder days, and it was absolutely incredible. The skiing and the terrain, and I think that's and I appreciate you describing it, because that valley coming into it is so unique, and it's those huge walls in that glacial valley, just to kind of give you a sense of how large they are. People are doing wingsuit dives off of these things. I mean, they're incredibly high. And then going up to Murin, I mean, it's basically a village on top of those. And then you're taking another gondola up to the Schilthorn to go ski. So it's an incredible just alpine scenery all around, in terms of like where you're at, the location, the uniqueness of it. Like you said, you can see the Eiger on a clear day across valley, and it's just a phenomenal place, and the terrain is so much fun, and you're basically skiing that upper section, I guess below the Schilthorn, right? Like you're
Yes. So the resort is quite big. There's 3 gondolas. There's a tram. There's a couple of chairlifts. We ski on the top part on Telemark Only. We ski between 2,400 and 3,000 meters. And we have the top tram that we ski on, and we have a chairlift, like 5-6 runs. But yeah, it's beautiful off-piste terrain up there. And we were, the 8 times we did it, we were almost every time we were really lucky with the weather and the snow. We had almost every time we had a little bit of powder, or a lot of powder too, and some spring skiing the last days. And except last year, we had really bad weather. Last year was really bad. We had 2 hours of sunshine. We had snow, we had rain, we had fog. But the atmosphere was amazing. Everybody was so happy to be back skiing on an event, and it was really cool. So the Telemark guys, they can live with bad weather, but of course, if you have good weather, it's a much better situation. But in May, we have usually lots of snow and usually good weather. That's fine.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that's cool about a Telemark festival like that, is there's a lot of other things going on. Maybe give people a little sense of like what a program looks like, in terms of like you're showing up, kind of what's involved. Cause I know, there's a chance to eat great food and good drinks and meet people and ski, obviously. But, generally there's like bands playing, little après ski. Like maybe walk us through like just a general basic program of like what it looks like when you come to the event.
Yeah, first of all, the Telemark Only is unique because it's Telemark skiers only. That's the one thing, But I always say it's kind of a non-event, It's like a ski resort just for telemarkers. You have everything, but everything is Telemark, and there's no snowboarders and no skiers. And So we have the whole program, these 4 days we ski, including, as you said, lunches and dinners together. We have a mountaintop party on Saturday in that revolving restaurant with live bands. We have bands on different stages every time. Of course, these guys are Telemark skiers. The bands, there's Matteo from Livigno with Benny, the drummer. So they are Telemark skiers. They played on Skieda, and they played in Hintertux and Telemark festivals and much more. And they come to the Schilthorn. I have my friends from Verbier, some amazing guys like John Faulkner, who was actually a skier in the original James Bond movie on the Schilthorn. Crazy. He's back with his guitar and singing every year with Bob Mazerai, originally from California, living in Verbier. Some other mountain guys. So I have Telemark people who make music. That's important too. We have the most important part, I think, on the Telemark Only is the test center. We pretty much bring all the test equipment from in Europe together to the Schilthorn in May. It comes from Mecho in France. It comes from Freeheeler Festival Tour, Austria, Germany. It has the Cloud9 shop in Switzerland, which is the biggest shop in Switzerland, like you are, Josh, in the US, I guess. They bring their equipment. And we have from Germany the NTN Tour coming. So we have like 200 pairs of skis and bindings of boots with NTN. And the big thing, I think, is that it's the place with the most test equipment, the place where you can find out what you want to buy, especially people who change from 75 norm to NTN. They find everything to test there. So that's a really important part. Then we offer classes for beginners. We offer freeride classes, avalanche courses, advanced classes. We offer private classes for single skiers who wants to improve a little bit on his technique. That's an important part. And of course, we have aperos and parties and après ski and music in the evening and bar in the evening. So full program. Sometimes you have movies, you have slideshows, all Telemark. So it's a Telemark town and a Telemark mountain only. That's really the success of the event. It's not an event in a ski resort with other skiers and the snowboarders. It's Telemark only. That's the success.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I remember when I first heard about this, like back in 2016, I was like, what? I was like, how is that even possible? But I mean, I like how you gave the backstory to it because, you know, if people didn't catch it, it's like the resort is closed. Like the resort has already closed. And then Paul's basically rented the entire mountain for us to go Telemark ski together. So everyone that's on the lift that's skiing is a Telemark skier. I mean, that's what's so incredible about it. It's like it's just such a unique experience because there's, you know, we all love our alpine and snowboard friends, but this is a unique opportunity. This is a unique opportunity to just go to a spot and just connect amongst a community of people. And there's people from all over the place, you know, from all these places in Europe and America, Canada. I don't know. I guess what's the furthest away that kind of blew? Have you had any Japanese, Australian Telemark skiers come yet, or?
You know, there's two things. Like I have 70% skiers from Switzerland. Of course, they are here. Then the rest is international. We have really people from, I think, 18 countries. I had the most. Non time, and that's of course Scandinavia, all over Europe, Croatia, whatever. We have you guys from the US coming over. It's like 5 to 10 people from the US yet. We will increase that number, I hope. And we have people from Japan. We had one guy from Hong Kong. Sometimes you have to be careful. There's people from Hong Kong, this guy, and he was in Switzerland for a month. And he just came to the festival. So he didn't come because of the festival. But it's people that travel for a while and they see there's an event, they go there. We have people from New Zealand, Australia, from Peru. Somebody was from Peru. But again, this person turned out to be working in Switzerland. He just used his home address in Peru to register. But it's quite international, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, and that's, part of us getting on here to get the history is I really want, I've been trying to get you on the podcast for a while, and I'm glad we're connecting this year because, you and I are creating a partnership with Freeheel Life and Telemark Only. And what we want to really do is open this up to our audience. And I think this is such a fantastic way to get sort of a history of the event, what it is, what it looks like. And it's such a great time of year too. It's funny that, like you said, we many times we stop skiing, and when the snow is deep, it's just like we quit going. And I think the cool part about this event is it's an amazing time, almost like post normal ski season, for everyone to come together, enjoy good food, good friendships, good turns, and go to a place where, you can just kind of chill out, and you're not working, you're not teaching skiing or whatever. So it's just it's a good chance to do that. And I know Telly Tay is going to come over again this year, and we're really excited about that and having a little bit of a presence that way. And I guess is there anything people should know? Like how can people find out more about the event this year and the program? And I know we've kind of gone over the basics, but I guess what should people know about Telemark Only 2023?
Well, the most important thing, it happens on May 4 to 7. That's Thursday to Sunday. They can already arrive on Wednesday. We already have a welcome dinner on Wednesday with a nice cheese fondue. And all the information is on the website, telemark-only.com. There you can also book your ticket and all you need from accommodation to food to activities to rental equipment can be booked in one step on the website, which is really important too, because that's something that I hear from people. Hey, it's so easy to book. You can go online and you can choose everything you need in these 4 days, and then it's done. That's the important thing. And yeah, if you travel from abroad, of course, you need to know that you can reach Mürren easily from the airport by train. We have a really good train system that leads to the valley and then up to the mountain with the gondola. So it's pretty easy to reach also for international people. You don't need a rental car in Switzerland if you want to come to the event. Hop on the train on the airport and it will bring you to Interlaken, then you change the train and you go to Lauterbrunnen, and then from there up to the mountains. So pretty easy to get here.
Yeah, actually, I remember Taylor telling us, I think we did a podcast when he got back last year, and he said there was the app on his phone for the train was so incredible. Like it basically told him, get off here, or this train's delayed. Yeah. Switch to this train instead. And he said it was like the easiest thing to do. Is just like got on the train, had the app, and boom, he got there. So
it's easier to pick the train than if I pick him up. The risk is smaller than if he takes the train at least on time.
And I guess so. Is it Zurich that people are generally flying into for the event?
Yeah, Zurich, or some of them Geneva.
Okay.
But Zurich is the biggest hub in Switzerland. The easiest way is to fly into Zurich, but Geneva is okay too. It's the same train station is in the airport, and from there it's easier.
Well, and we were talking before we got on the podcast. I mean, there's other, if you're international, and heading over there for the event, it sounds like there's a lot of other stuff. You can go golf and ski in the same day if you really wanted to, or, before or after the trip. I mean, it's springtime there, early May, right? So, I mean, there's tons of stuff you can do and kind of build on either side of your travels if you want to do that as well. So, I mean, who doesn't want to go to Switzerland?
Yeah, and beautiful cities like Zurich or Bern or Thun, the lakes, Interlaken, the two lakes there. It's just a beautiful place, yeah. And in May, you get in the valley, you get 20 degrees or more, and the mountain is still cold for skiing in the morning. So yeah, it's a good time to travel in Switzerland, of course. Yeah, it's not that busy, but it's beautiful in spring. And then again, Switzerland is it's close to everything. If I drive 2 hours in any direction, I'm in a different country, in a different culture. That's the main difference between Switzerland and North America. So if I drive south, I'm in Italy in 2 hours, completely different food.
Yeah.
And different culture. If I drive north, I'm in Germany, east, I'm in Austria, and west, I'm in France. So everything is so close.
Yeah.
Train from Bern, you're in 4 hours, you're in Paris. So why don't combine a ski trip with a city trip or something?
Yeah. No, I love that. Well, and that's what we did that year we came is we went to the Black Shoes Festival, and then kind of in France and Teen, and then came down and saw you guys. And I mean, it's just such a cool time of year to come to Europe, and it's still a great time to ski. I think that's the big thing. The big takeaway is there's a lot of snow and you're up high, and it's a good time to get some turns in. So if you're kind of, bored of skiing wherever you're living, this is a good chance to go and enjoy some culture and some food and some skiing as well. But, well, cool, man. Well, and I guess anything else you want to let people know about for the event coming up in May, this year?
Well, come and see it yourself. That's the point. Come and see it and feel it. And it's really unique. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's cool to ski with 5 Telemark skiers, but skiing with 500 Telemark skiers on the mountain. Lift line, only Telemark skiers, everything. Everybody's talking the same. It's, we are different people, and it's a different atmosphere than it's in a ski resort on a regular day. It's really cool. You have to see it. And as I said, the views and the skiing is really cool up there. And come here and have a look yourself.
I love it, man. Well, we're looking forward to partnering up with you and getting the word out. And I can't recommend it enough. Everyone who's listening out there, make sure to hit up. We'll have the website link in the show notes, and we'll be sending it out in the mailing list as well. But this is a great opportunity to get over to Europe post North American ski season and get after it, make some turns. So, Paul, awesome talking to you. I'm glad we finally got you on here. And
just an idea, Josh.
Yeah.
Why don't we organize ski trips, vice versa?
Hey, I'm into that.
Your community comes to Europe, and our community here in Europe has to ski Alta and Snowbird and Jackson Hole, these places. We should do something and develop with Freeheel Life and Telemark Only a cooperation in this direction to
I love
show
that.
each other the beautiful places we have. We should do that.
I love that. Well, if you're listening out there and you're interested in going over to Telemark Only, or if you're one of our European friends and want to come over this way, hit me up, podcast@freeheellife.com. Let's see if we can put something together. I love that.
Yeah. We should do that, Josh.
I love that. Well, Paul, thanks so much for coming on, brother. And we'll look forward to seeing it at Telemark Only in 2023.
See you out there, guys. Thanks.
You bet. See ya. Well. I guess this not a bad conversation to end off on this season. Absolutely love this story, and it's great to hear when there's a little gap in somewhere and somebody comes up with a great idea and fills in that gap. And I think Telemark Only is the perfect solution to finding how to get people to go skiing in the first week of May at an amazing resort with a lot of history and bringing all the crazy telemarkers together from all over the world. So I'm super pumped to be partnering up with Telemark Only and bringing more awareness to this event, and then learning how, like Paul said at the end, how we can maybe put some things together to get people over there and whatnot. But for this season, it's coming up quick. You got about 1 month to get ready, buy those plane tickets, get lodging lined up, get the train app that old Telly Tay was using last time he went over, figure out how you're going to get to Telemark Only, and head on over there. Like I said, Telly Tay's going to be there. He's going to be hanging out, decompressing after the 8th retail season, having a good time, making some turns. So make sure to go give him a nice high five or a fist bump or whatnot. Buy him a beer, and it'd be great to know that everyone connected over there. Big thanks to Paul for taking the time to talk and share his history with Telemark in Switzerland and how we can all get involved with this beautiful event in Schilthorn near Mürren, Switzerland. So, I guess that's it. It's kind of sad. I don't want to leave all of you for the whole summer. I'm going to miss you. And I appreciate you all listening to this podcast every single week. It's been an honor to put this on every Monday. I enjoy it thoroughly. It's as my childhood Telemark brain would tell me, what an honor to do this and have people listen into talking about Telemark skiing, something I care deeply about. And it's been a fantastic season. Great snow here, getting out, making some turns. And it's always a wild ride. So I'm looking forward to bringing the podcast back in the fall. I don't have a start date lined up. Haven't even thought that far. I'm going to take a little bit of time off working on some other stuff, and we'll be back in the fall to kick off the season with more Freeheel Life podcasts and the like. So thank you all out there. I'd love to hear from you this summer. If you want to email me, you can hit me up at podcast@freeheellife.com. You can check me out on the Instagram and the Facebook pages at Josh Nomadson, or on the business pages at Freeheel Life. The website will continue to be open at freeheellife.com. And as always, sign up for the mailing list. I don't want to say that's an order because it's your choice, but if you sign up for the mailing list, that's a really good way to kind of keep up on what's next. And if we chime in over the summer, that's a good place to find out what's going on. So please check that out. I hope you all enjoy a wonderful spring ski season. I hope if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're starting to think about skiing. If you're down in South America, Australia, or New Zealand, don't forget World Telemark Day, first Saturday in September. And I'm looking forward to some spring turns myself. And then we'll get back at it when the temps start falling again in the fall. So brothers and sisters of the turn, until the fall of 2023, spread Telemark always. Peace out.